So hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry here. Welcome back. So in this, there's been another update to Center by LeadPages, and I think it's worth kind of talking about for a couple of minute or so. Just really, there's a nice update in the Center by LeadPages early adopter group on Facebook yesterday from Patrick, who's kind of been their person in Facebook, who's really cool, and just saying that Infusionsoft is now available. Woo! So for every serious marketer, we've now got something to actually use. That's really cool. So at the moment, it's only write integration. So let's say you want someone pays on Stripe, you can now write it straight into Infusionsoft. And yeah, so I think you could have probably done that on Zapier. You can, but I think at the moment, obviously, it's just the right integration, and yeah, you can. It just probably makes it easier than Zapier. Zapier's a headache and a half to set up on anything. It's really cool. I love it, but it's a bit of a headache sometimes to set up. I think where this is really going to come into its own, and we dive into what I think Center's going to be about. Where I think it's really going to come into its own is when you can really start tracking people around your website, and you can be like, you can get an in-depth knowledge where they've been, and if they've signed up for webinars, if they've seen e-commerce pages, if they've spent X amount of time on blog pages, on pricing pages. I think that's where Center's really going to come into its own, and then being able to dynamically go out there and notify like the CRM, the email marketing system, and also in the back end, I know there's services that kind of do this already, where in the back end you might have you want to make sure how often people are actually engaging with your app, and all that lovely stuff is to be able to if they haven't signed in for 5 days and they're on a 7-day trial, like get some badass sequence out to them really quickly, like, come on, you're either staying or you're going, kind of thing. And in that first 24 hours, if people aren't logging in a few times, get them sequenced, get them educated on your system. And even if you're a normal like consultant of some sort, I think I find it interesting that the Center have decided the first two integrations were Aweber and MailChimp, of which I know they're very popular, but the people who I think are going to gain from Center seriously are not those people that use those two platforms. So I find it an interesting move why they integrated with them first. I guess two things: they're really easy to integrate with anything. That's one. Hats off to both those companies. The APIs are really easy to work with, but I don't see that market being Center's market long term. I can see, that's that was just an interesting thing that I wondered about. I mean, I can see how Stripe integration really helps and go to webinar and stuff. But right now we can do stuff. So if you're using GoToWebinar, that I do for some things, but mainly Webinar Jam, and you're on Infusionsoft, like if you sign up for a LeadPages webinar right now and you're not there after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, they'll send you an email automatically, just like friendly reminding you it's actually started. So I think right now that power for getting show rate up, even if it's only 10%, 10-15%, 10-15%, if you're making $10,000 a webinar is big, and you add that up over an entire year, then boom. So I think Center would have paid for itself right there if you could just do that integration. And I think I'm going to come back to where I think it can go. At the moment, not everything I really use is integrated. Darren asked Patrick a couple of days ago about ActiveCampaign. That's my one. I mean, I've got a couple of clients on Infusionsoft, but I'm not going to go and borrow their account just to do a few demos, because that's just not cool. So yeah, Darren asked about ActiveCampaign, and Patrick said, in a couple of weeks, about 2 weeks. That's cool. So, yeah, they also released an integration availability kind of timeline or list. And you can see on here that obviously they're going to integrate with themselves. That's nice and good. And PayPal, that's going to be useful. Zendesk going to be useful as well. And then all the right sort of near-term right integrations seem generally are the email marketing platforms, and Infusionsoft has obviously been ticked off that list, and that's all ready to go. I think the integration with Zapier is going to be huge, because it's going to be although in a way at this kind of top level, Center's kind of doing what Zapier does at the moment. I think longer term, with those more detailed sort of abilities, it's gonna, Zapier is gonna become sort of a secondary thing you use, instead of trying to sort of force some of these theoretical ideas that Center can do into Zapier at the moment. So yeah, Webinar Jam's going to be a good integration, although again, until there's more read integrations, that side of things isn't going to be too useful. But yeah, I think we're looking at a system that is game changing. I think they've been very open and said they're not quite where they wanted to be, but I also think integrating with all these services takes a nuts amount of time. I write the odd integration where I need to and want to for clients and me and any random thing I want to do, and yeah, it takes time. And even if you've got one person there spending all day just trying to integrate Infusionsoft, that would be a week or two's job minimum, and to do it properly would probably be a month, 2 months, and you got to test it and all the rest. So yeah, I think the WooCommerce integration is going to be huge. Samcart's going to be huge. Vimeo is going to be huge. The return from Zapier is going to be huge. So I can really see this coming together. And as I said, I'm not in the position to really be testing it. I might dig out my old MailChimp account again and just have a play. Subscribe to myself and see what very sort of things I can do at the moment. But I think where this is going to come into its own is where sort of the intelligence of combining your website with about 3 other platforms at the same time, plus webinars, and generally building a really clear picture of what people are doing and kicking off campaigns based on so many things. So yeah, I look forward to the next integration, and I will also do another video that's a bit more hands-on next time as well. So thank you very much for watching, listening, and doing anything else you felt like doing. Hopefully not too much. And if you've liked this, enjoyed it, and you want some more cool ass marketing things, including Center by LeadPages updates and little previews and little hacks when there's a few more available, then hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below. And if you're not on the blog post, jump over to the blog post and get discussing Center as well with everyone else. So have an absolutely awesome day, guys. Catch you soon.